Have you ever received a call that literally changed the entire destiny of your life? You were moved along one way, perfect family, not perfect, but really, really fantastic. Life looked really wonderful. And all of a sudden, a devastating phone call changed the trajectory of everything. Guys, I'm here with my guest, Brandi Grovo, who 3 years ago on a beautiful November day, we were actually out on tour and she's has a real estate license and we were out looking at homes that morning and we all got back to the office and she had been trying to get a hold of her daughter that morning and had not reached her. And the longer that it went, the more panic that I saw. And that morning we got back from tour, we walked in the door and she saw that on her Ring camera, the state trooper had stopped at her house. Panic and terror hit her at that moment. And all of a sudden, through the doors of our office, in walked her dear friend and delivered to her devastating news. Guys, today we're going to talk about what has become almost a epidemic of sorts, one of the leading causes of death in our country, suicide. And why am I having Brandy on here? Because we want to heighten awareness. And Brandy and Dana, they don't want their pain to go and be wasted. They don't want Haley's life and her story wasted. And so Brandy and I were having coffee the other day, and I'm like, tell me what you've learned over the last few years. Tell me some warning signs. Guys, Haley, a beautiful, 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 talented young woman, took her life. And here's the thing, guys, there was not really any signs to it. They, like, literally coming from a really loving family, full of support, the best opportunities, had just been home to celebrate her mom's birthday, had just spent a few days with them. And so we're gonna peel back the layer on a few things that they have learned, a few things that they're gonna that they have as they've reflected back as parents, what they think they should do. Guys, the highest I mean, teenage suicide is on the rise. But do you know what the average age of these teenage suicide? It's getting younger and younger. The highest risk is age 10 to 14. Guys, that's scary. It's really scary. And so their family they have the Haley Foundation, but there's a big race coming up. It's alive and running in Iowa. It is happening June 11th or June 14th. Sorry, I screwed that up. June 14th. And you can still go register for that alive and running race, raising funds, raising awareness for suicide because everyone thinks that they're exempt and it can never happen to them. And so, Brandy, let's start from that point.
Yeah, I still to this day can't believe that it did. Even like you said, we were the typical normal family.
Yeah.
Um,
And in good communication with your daughter.
oh, I talked to her.
Yeah.
She had had some struggles and she'd shared it with us and um we had gotten her help. She'd seen counselors. Um, she was put on medication. Um, we thought we were doing all the right things.
Mhm.
Um, she would confide in us and say that she was doing good. She was, in her words, fine, things
Uh-huh.
were good. Um, and then, yeah, that call.
Yeah. Yeah, the horror of that day is is one that I'll always remember as well, right? Um, yeah. It was yeah. But literally when I was talking to Brandy last week, we were talking about some things and she goes, "You know, there's some things as parents that we question now." And one of them was the antidepressant, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say to parents? What would you say to people?
I, again, looking back, we thought we were doing the right thing. She was put on a low dose. It seemed to be helping. We could see change in her,
Mhm.
her mood, attitude. And then, they say, I mean, every antidepressant has a warning, can cause suicide, thoughts of suicide. Um, as a parent now, I would definitely take heed to that.
Yeah.
Um, her dose was increased, doubled 2 weeks before she took her life.
Yeah. Guys, the thing that I think is serious is because it feels like antidepressants are almost like candy anymore. Like, you can get a hold of them at every turn, and yet, um and yet, when I was talking with Brandy, she goes, "I would caution parents, I would caution people, if your kids are already dealing with things, why are we giving them and then increasing doses?"
which a side effect is the suicide thoughts. Um, I think it's kids' frontal cortex. I think it's 26 before it's fully developed.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not a doctor, but when you introduce, foreign substances and drugs, it affects everything. They're
Uh-huh.
not fully developed and they can't um, take it all in.
Uh-huh.
And it's one of our biggest regrets.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're dealing with a child that has, or someone that you're just prescribing medication to, like, maybe we should really take heed
Yeah.
that I don't know that I should be looking maybe we need to take a different route.
As hindsight's 2020, but yeah, that would looking back, that would be our absolute last resort
Yeah.
now.
What other kind of options are there out there right now, do you think?
Obviously, counseling. Um, again, she relayed to us that things were going good. However, the day before she took her life, she had a counseling appointment. Um, and because she's over 18, um, and she didn't sign a release, we were not privy or could not know what was discussed or if something was discussed at that appointment, that caused her to do it. Um,
Wow. That to me as a parent, like, here's the thing, you're still, you're paying for your kids to go to college.
yep, paid for
You're
their
you're
insurance.
paying for their insurance, you're paying for everything, and yet all of a sudden this happens and you have no access to even get her records, and to this day you don't, do you?
No, we couldn't even after it happened, we tried to find out, and they could not confirm or deny that she was a patient there. Well, like you said, I paid for her insurance. I saw all the appointments. I know she's a patient there, but we couldn't even get that information.
I feel like that feels so criminal to a family member that's grieving that you can't even get a hold of any kind of, like, you don't know what kind of peace that would have brought to you. You don't know what it would have done actually.
And that's in any case. I mean, we have a younger daughter, Elena, and the first thing we did when she turned 18 and went to school is, I forget the website, but forms that she signed and we signed, so that wouldn't happen.
So you can have access.
We can have access to her medical care. I mean, if the child's in a car accident, there's some things but you're the parent.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So if you're out there and you've got an 18 or older and you're still the responsible one for them, and it would be really really wise
Just
and
ask.
imperative to just have that.
Yeah, that's the first thing we did,
Yeah.
so we wouldn't be in that situation again.
Wow. This is like gut-wrenching truth from the trenches. Here's the other thing that you need to know is that Haley had reached out and even told her professor, her psychology professor, "Hey,
Um,
I'm having
yeah,
I'm a little bit late on work." She was a great student.
she was dean's list. Yeah, on a roll all through high school. It was a paper, and we found this after going through emails, just trying to find answers. It was about 3 weeks before, yeah, she was, like, 2 minutes late submitting a paper, and she just wrote to her professor and said, "Hey, this is late, I turned it in, I've been having problems, I've been really depressed, haven't been able to get out of bed, thoughts of suicide."
Mhm.
Um, unfortunately, the professor just replied, "I'll accept the paper this time, but don't let it happen again." Didn't address anything. of Haley's thoughts.
Guys, this is a psychology professor. It's literally mind-blowing.
Yeah, a lot of anger,
Yeah, I'm sure there is a lot of anger. Yeah.
and the paper that she submitted, it was about sports, and how, like, sports and physical activity affect your mental, health,
Mhm.
and in the paper, she had made comments and addressed, like, her depression, and so 2 chances
Wow.
that someone could have reached out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when I hear this kind of thing, I think, "Guys, we can do better.
Yeah.
We can all do better." What would have been I mean, I don't know if she thought she was dealing with a bunch of college students that had been out, like, partying and just needing excuses, and that was likely excuse. I don't know if it was like, I can't relate to the insensitivity, but have we all kinda thought, like, "Well, maybe there's something" I'm sure not.
Yeah. And, yeah, everyone's human, but, of course, as a mom, you just think, "Why?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dana and my husband and Elena, I mean, that's been our mission, just making sure this doesn't happen to someone else.
Yeah.
So, obviously, after that email, we were furious.
Yeah.
Um, we, wrote letters to the president of the university and, met with them and demanded that they make changes,
Mhm.
to the protocol
Mhm.
and training of the professors, and they have, um, slowly, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Um, they did tell us about a year after Haley, kind of the same situation had happened. The student had expressed an email, and because of the policies that they, had started, that student got the help they needed in a timely fashion.
Mhm.
S so slowly
Wow.
but surely,
Yeah.
trying.
You're working on it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty much you guys' life mission to make sure no one ever experiences the pain that you experienced, right? And continue to experience on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanna talk about this. So, when we're talking about Haley, let's Haley wasn't I mean, she was a swimmer, she was an athlete. If you see pictures of her, and we'll show you pictures, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful girl, and from the outside perspective, had the world by its tail, like, this just nothing but opportunity before her, right? And a family that adored her, that would do anything for her. And yet, isn't it true, Brandy, that we often see that it's people that you would never, ever, ever expect?
Yep. Look at Robin Williams.
Yeah.
His life was making people laugh, happy. Um, his quote was, "The people that are hurting the most are usually the ones that don't show it."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was happy-go-lucky, funny, quirky sense of humor. I Yeah,
Yeah.
just it can happen to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that to me, when I think about this situation and I think about, your new life mission, I think that with, the suicide rates, like, literally rampant. When we're looking at the market that's most impacted, it's obviously typically it's men because of the pressure and societal pressure to be masculine and not show weakness and things like that. There's definitely that. But when you start to look at the alarming rising of suicide rates in between 10 and 14-year-olds, that's terrifying.
S it I mean, yeah, my support group, there was 9-year-olds as young as 9. It just blows your mind that they know about it or
Uh-huh.
how to do it or, whether it's bullying at school or whatever the cause. It's an epidemic.
Guys, here's the thing. We can do so much better just being a human being that cares about people. I have I remember a really good a friend of mine, her daughter, was being bullied at school, and one night she walked up into to their bedroom, and she was literally in a fetal position underneath her bed, and she had been getting text messages blown up saying, "Kill yourself. You don't have any value. Kill yourself. You're worthless." And it was coming from 4 or 5 different girls. I wanna say, "What the heck?
Yeah. Where's
Where is this coming from?"
it
Is it a lack of parents paying attention? Are we parenting distracted? Like, how is this possible, and how do we correct it?
I think this little
This
thing we
phone.
carry is one of the major problems.
I
It
agree.
connects you to so much, but also makes you so lonely.
Mhm.
I really think
Mhm.
yeah.
You know, my kids are constantly asking me when I'm getting them a phone, and I keep telling them it's gonna be a really long time. They're 10. I'm
Oh,
like, "It's gonna be a long time," and they're like, "Mom, all of our friends are getting phones." I said, "I absolutely don't care."
nope, and if they need one, just get one that calls or texts.
Yeah.
Can't do anything else.
Yeah, I because here's the thing, the fight to keep kids off technology in today's environment is almost a full-time job,
Yeah,
and so much you're seeing kids, like, on, different sites, what's it called, Reddit? Things like that, that are literally giving kids prescriptions on how to kill themselves. Like, guys, we are living in a world that's so I don't know if it's from that there's just been from all the video games and from all the detachment and from all the loneliness, like, it's it's craziness.
yeah. I mean, you can order things, pills online that to take your life.
Mhm,
It blows my mind.
mhm, and I have a friend whose son did that,
Yeah,
and they found him, but someone found him on a running path, and he had done that, and she went to that company and said, "How can you sell this stuff to kids? How can you sell this to people and not give out some kind of like, how can you do this?"
yeah,
And they literally didn't respond. But this is how change is gonna come. It's by people like Brandi and Dana going to their universities saying, "You can do better. This should never have happened." This is where advocacy for that voice that can't speak anymore is so critical.
yeah. Uh, we kinda knew right away. Obviously, it was horrendous and affects us every day, but if we can do something good out of it, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I so, every day that I see Brandy and every day she knows this, but when she gets out of bed and wakes up and continues to serve people, and she and Dana and Elena have, just a passion to bring a heightened awareness to suicide it. When I see that, I literally am blown away because so many people would never get out of bed with this situation. And I'm sure there's been days she's struggled to get out of bed, but every day they get up, they walk through the pain, they walk through the reality, and their whole entire goal is to have people become aware that this could happen to anybody. It could be anyone's family. So here's the thing it requires of all of us, guys. We take our mind and our focus off of ourself,
Yeah.
off of our technology, off of our phones, because our distracted world is destroying so much of our children and our kids and our young adults.
Yeah. I just I just think if you notice, um, we just saw a speaker, he had tried to commit suicide by jumping off of the Golden Gate Bridge,
Wow.
and he took an hour-long bus to the bridge, and he just, like, thought and prayed to himself, "If just someone on the bus would say one thing, then I'll change my mind."
Wow.
And he was crying and sitting on the bus, and not one person for an hour-long bus ride asked him if he was okay, gave him any words of encouragement. There was people laughing at him. Um, he just said if just one person would have said something, he would have changed his mind. Well,
Wow.
nobody did,
Wow.
and thankfully, he survived, and now it's his mission. I just think if if you see someone that just doesn't seem right or, usually is the happy person, just say something. Ask
Yeah.
them if they're okay. It
Yeah.
just takes just something.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all need to do better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bringing awareness. I think that in the environment that we're living in today, where everything is so hostile, where everything can be divided, if we can come in, there's nothing that trumps, um, or there's nothing that pulls down walls like seeing somebody else and acknowledging them.
Yeah. And it doesn't take much,
Yeah.
you know? Um, yeah. It, yeah. It just obviously we would like to go back, do things differently, but we can't. So just urge other people so it
Uh-huh.
doesn't happen.
When I was talking with Brandy the other day, I asked her, I'm like, now since it's been a few years and you think back, and I know that they go over this and rehearse it and go over and rehearse the days leading up to this. I'm like, is there anything that you think, oh, that was a sign? And you know what she said to me? No, no. We were in open communication. We knew that she had just had a counseling appointment. We knew that they had raised her prescription. Like, all these things, like, we were very aware. We had no idea that it was at this level. And that's the thing, guys, like, every day, like, I've been praying this, and I'm gonna encourage you guys that God would give you eyes that see people, that God would give you, hmm, a sensitivity to know when there's hurt there, when they need a word, when they need some encouragement, that we could be the lighthouse. Guys, this world is so dark. Right now, people feel so hopeless, so discouraged, so disconnected and lonely. And I agree with you. I do think it is these phones. I think it is technology. And I'm like, if you can be the lighthouse, one word,
Yeah. So our youngest daughter, Elena, spoke at the funeral, gave a eulogy, and just thought I'd read.
please do.
At the end of it, she just said, mental health is real and it affects everyone one way or another. It must be addressed. I call all of you to action. Compliment your coworkers, your classmates. Check in on them. Smile at a stranger. You never know how much someone might need a sprinkle of joy in their day. Be kind. Lift people up. Be the light. Be a good human. Be like Haley. So I thought that was
Yeah. Yeah.
so just, it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Makes such a difference.
Mhm. Yeah. And we've all had times, I think, that where we've had people that look like their whole life looks like it's together, and they would never be the person. That's the tricky thing about it. The tricky thing about suicide is that it's tricky. It
Just
doesn't look like what you think it looks like.
just mental health in general. It
Yeah.
could be, since Haley, the I overwhelming amount of people that have come to us and who have, like, shared their struggles, either themselves or with a child or a family member. It affects everyone.
Uh-huh.
You might not know it, but it does.
Uh-huh.
100%.
I'm reminded of, you told me that Dana had even had a coworker that lost his job and took his life, right? But Dana, being sensitive, had a coworker that was pretty always.
Happy, bubbly. Um, yeah, he just, brought him into his office and just said, "Hey, I've noticed, you're not yourself like you've
Uh-huh.
been." Just just doing that
Yeah.
shows you care.
Yeah.
Someone's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take much time.
Yeah. If you were to give someone, um, marching orders, it to how to, lift another human being, how to detect when someone needs, what would you? Because you've become much more sensitive probably than you've ever become to pain and hurt and seeing people.
Ooh, just notice, even if they're smiling, and just ask them how they are. Just
Yeah,
don't take our new rule in our house is you cannot answer with "fine"
yeah,
or "I'm good."
yeah.
It's not acceptable anymore. You have to give something more, dig deeper. Um,
Brandy, I like that.
yeah, just it's not allowed.
When did you guys adopt that?
After Haley, just we talked to her and she's like, "I'm good, I'm fine, and things are good." Obviously, they weren't. So it's just we don't let that be an answer anymore.
Brandy, I'm gonna adopt that in my own house.
Yeah, I mean, teenagers, one word answers and they're done. Just they have to give more. They're
Mhm,
just it's not acceptable. Just
mhm.
so yeah, and I would take that with anybody. If you ask them, "How you doing?"
Yeah,
Just say that. To dig deeper.
yeah,
Say, "Are you really good? Are you?
yeah,
How's your day?"
yeah,
Just one more question.
yeah. It's always that one more question thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you teach us that in sales and everything. It is. It's in anything
Yeah.
because people just, they don't think that you truly care or you really want to know. But
Mhm.
make sure they do know
Uh-huh,
that you are sincere.
uh-huh,
And yeah, one more question. Just dig a little deeper.
uh-huh. Yeah. Um, I'm reflecting back on, a girl that I knew that, a completely different situation, but also was being bullied and told to kill herself. And I can't even imagine how the horror of it. But guys, last week, my kids were out playing, and someone laughingly said, "Oh, go kill yourself." And I literally I went like, "What the heck?" I'm like, "Nobody talks like that around. Nobody, nobody, nobody. You don't say those words. You don't even begin to think like that. Don't even let that ever come out of your mouth again." And they're like, "Mom, it's just a joke." I go, "Not a joke. Not funny. Nothing good coming out of that."
No.
But literally, and then I was like, "Where did that come from?" And guess what I heard? A YouTube video. Guys, I go back to so much as what is being taken in through technology with distracted parents. And I'm guilty of being distracted. I'm not sitting here saying I'm not.
Same.
I mean, I'm so guilty of being distracted, but I'm cautious in the fact that like I don't want to lose my kids to a screen and to a lonely world that's not connected. So much I think that we have to go outside. We have to get, get active, get out, breathe, kick a ball, hit a baseball, do something. We have to engage with people and,
Phone down.
put the phone down. Like it's the thing.
Yeah. 100%.
We were out for dinner the other night, and I sat there and I thought, this is so interesting. We were sitting across from a family, and every single one of them was on a phone. Not anyone was looking at anybody. Here's the thing, I've been guilty of that. I'm in the real estate business. It never stops.
Yep.
And I've been out for dinner plenty of times. And I'm like responding to text messages. Yeah, here's where we're at, da da da, because I think it's urgent. And at the end of the day, it's not urgent at all.
No, that's a new rule. We don't have phones at the table. Phones at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Just everybody. I mean, 30 minutes. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Just yeah, we've learned a lot, changed a lot.
What are other simple little, like, I like that, like, let's go back. Hey, good or fine is not an answer. You have to give us another level. Our phones are away from us for at least dinner.
Um, just again, we just check in more regularly.
Uh-huh. Has it changed your, connection with your extended family? As a collective whole, do you guys relate to each other differently?
Yeah, I would say we're closer.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely brought us
Uh-huh.
closer.
So, moving forward, you guys have got the Graham, is it the Haley Foundation,
Mhm.
right?
Haley Grovo Foundation.
Haley Grovo Foundation, and tell me what you're doing with that.
Um, Again, just raising awareness, taking the stigma off of mental health, supporting, um, like Alive and Running, just different, um, groups around mainly Iowa,
Mhm.
to raise awareness, just make it known, make it May was Mental Health Month, but it's more than just a month.
Uh-huh.
June Now we're in June, and it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but again, it's not a 30-day thing.
No, it's a life.
It affects everyone every day.
Uh-huh. A few years ago, we lost someone from our real estate community, not locally, and the number one real estate agent in California at the time, beautiful wife, beautiful kids, a thriving real estate company, and he was set to um, speak at our mastermind, and he killed himself. And the ripple effect and the shock, um, for like, you just never ever would have expected that that would have ever have happened. And we had to have real conversations because for people like myself that are I don't know, I hate that type A personality type, but like that are like achieve and do and like all of that, perform, like not the performance, but like, there's metrics,
Yeah,
right? Like, that's a real thing to step back and say, my identity is not based upon my performance. My worth and my value is not tied to what I do as a career and how successful or lack thereof I am. And that's a real thing, because if you ever walk through a time of an economic shift, or yeah, a setback in your finances or your career or anything, or you go through a divorce, like, your identity your identity is really challenged, um, if you're tied to results.
it's yeah, and Haley was type A.
Uh-huh.
She was a perfectionist.
Uh-huh.
All through school, if she got a B on a paper,
Mhm.
she would just beat herself up.
Uh-huh.
We would tell her, "It's fine.
Yeah.
You did your best."
Yeah.
Um, I think she was struggling in the class that
Uh-huh.
semester,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I think it just looking back, I think it was just eating her up.
Uh-huh.
To her, she was failing and
Mhm.
wasn't getting the A.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I was not great in school at all, okay? Like,
I was average.
I was super average, rode the struggle bus. My sisters did really, really well, not me. But it's made me be reflective that way with my kids, because I don't want them to feel like their value is based on academics and how they achieve in school or what they do. And even like Steve has been so good, like even like with Faith, like even when we tell them how much we love them and they're so beautiful, like we'll talk about, hey, your nose you have the best nose. We'll like talk about things, it's like specific things. You got the most beautiful eyes. Like, we're just, your heart is so great. You've got so much to be proud of yourself for. Like, we're constantly pumping that in, and think how much we have to give that kind of feedback, not only to our kids, but to our community around us, like front loading them, like, hey, you have value. It's beyond what you do. Because I mean, I took my kids out golfing the other day, and I watched my son Foster hit a bad shot. Now, it's one thing if he had been practicing and practicing and practicing, that he could be upset that he hit a bad shot. But he's so used to having things come easy for him that he hit a couple bad shots, and his shoulders slumped. He got, and I'm like, hey, straighten up, dude. This is nothing. But he's that same way. And like, so much of our mental makeup. is
so hard on
performance.
ourselves.
We are.
Obviously, worse than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looking back, I really think that was one of the factors.
Mhm.
She just everything had to be and when we would she was a perfectionist. She was neat, organized. Her closet was color coordinated, and when we got the news and went to her apartment, her room was chaos.
Yeah.
It was just never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So that right there was like, she wasn't right.
Yeah. And again, a roommate that didn't say anything.
Um, Roommates were out of town most of the weekend. But again, every time we saw her, she was laughing and happy, and that's what she, showed everyone.
Yeah.
Just didn't let anyone in.
Yeah. Brandy, like, in these days, like, and I talked about this, like, where do you find your comfort? Where if someone's listening to this that is having tendencies towards suicide, what would you say to them?
Don't do it. Tomorrow needs you.
Tomorrow needs you. I like that. Don't do it. Tomorrow needs you.
Oh, just I mean, everybody has bad days, bad moments. I'll be honest, after Haley, I had thoughts.
Yeah.
Like you said, there was days I couldn't get out of bed,
Mhm.
but things will get better.
Mhm.
Um, if something bad has happened, it'll get better.
Mhm.
Just tomorrow needs you. Stay, get
Mhm.
help,
Mhm.
ask.
Mhm.
After Haley, a friend, I go back to it every day. When she was younger, teenager, one of her siblings took his life. And she just told me, she's like, "When my brother died, I lost my mom too."
Mm.
And that just stuck with me.
Mhm.
And that's what gets me out of bed.
Yeah, you have to show up for Elena.
I have another child.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So,
I've been so proud of you, Dana. I've been so proud of you, Brandy. You and Dana have done an incredible job continuing to
but
put
yeah,
forth life.
I mean, yeah, she's here. She's living. I, I can't do that to her.
Yeah.
I have to get out of bed and be a mom and go to work. And
Yeah.
even, yeah, some days it's hard. But
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And
that, that has been the one thing that has just resonated like every day.
yeah.
That she lost both her brother and her mom on the same day,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who just lost a loved one to suicide? What words of hope can you give them?
You know, you'll have good days and you'll have bad days. You just have to embrace the good days and let the bad days come.
Uh-huh.
Um, the saying is time heals everything. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's been 2.5 years, but it feels like yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Um, but you just have to just enjoy the good times. And
Uh-huh.
you can be happy and have, good times and joy and
Uh-huh.
still be grieving.
Yeah.
It, you can do both.
Right.
It's okay.
That's probably one of the biggest things is giving yourself permission to enjoy life when you're grieving.
I sometimes both Dana and I feel, like if we're out in public and we are having a good time, we're laughing, and I f- sometimes it feels as if people are like, "Wow, how can they be doing that? How can they?" You have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to keep living.
Yeah.
It's hard, but you have to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So just yeah. I mean, the first year after Haley, it's a blur. I couldn't tell you if I was coming or going.
Yeah.
I was just going through the motions. I would say the second year was probably the hardest.
Uh-huh.
Um, that fog and the you're kind of out of it, and it's reality.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was hard. 2nd year was definitely the hardest. But now we're, 2.5, and we're just kinda focusing on ourselves, our health,
Mhm.
just going forward.
Mhm.
That's all we can do.
Mhm. You're making a decision to live. You're deciding every day. We're choosing life.
It's hard.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've told you before, some days I'll look at pictures or hear songs and I'll laugh and, good memories. Other days, tears just come,
Yeah.
and you never know.
Yeah.
You don't know what that day's gonna be.
Uh-huh.
That's what's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kinda one foot in front of the other.
Brandy, I've watched you do that. And here's another thing, guys. Haley loved Christmas, and Brandy's a great decorator. So you decorate for Christmas like in what? Beginning of November, end of October? Halloween runs out the door and
Birthday's November 1st, so
okay. And she decorates it beautifully, right, for Christmas.
yeah,
And part of it is because you love it, but because also Haley loved it, right?
she did. Yeah, she was 19 years old, but you'd think she was a 5-year-old on Christmas. She just was so excited.
Yeah. So you've continued on some of those
Yeah,
kinds of things.
yep. Yeah, yeah, she loved fancy presents and fancy bows. My sister-in-law, Shauna, just went to the her presents were always so pretty, and Haley just loved them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to do things she would love, or, Lilo and Stitch just came out, the movie, and Haley loves Stitch. That
Uh,
was, like, her little character, so we all went to it.
uh-huh.
She would have loved it.
Yeah. Do you know what I love is that you keep her so alive.
Thanks.
And I know some people uh may avoid talking to you because they don't know what to say, and they may run from the conversation because they don't want to bring it up and they think you don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, no, don't ever forget Haley.
No, I would say that if you know anybody that's lost someone or, a child, talk about them, bring up
Yeah.
them. That
Yeah.
helps us remember that they lived.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
definitely.
I love that you and Dana are moving forward with life, yet you're like Haley lives strong in everything you do and your intentional um action steps to create greater and greater awareness. And guys, at the end of the day, isn't it really just about being a more sensitive, good human being? I mean, it really comes down to so much impact. So much of our world could look so much different if we just take the moment, take our eyes off ourself, off our phone, and look at the person next to us. Guys, I found myself sitting on the plane the other day and I was sitting next to Faith and I was completely just locked into my phone while she was sitting there and she was just looking at me. Do you know, it broke my heart. I'm like, I just gave 15 minutes of valuable time away to looking at stupid Facebook. As Faith sat there and looked at me.
Right. We know.
I'm like, guys, we're all guilty of it. We have to take our eyes off of these things that are so meant to distract us and take life from us and make us feel like, hey, I don't have, this is the truth of the matter of it. I don't want my kids exposed to social media. And it's the reality of this world. But if I can protect them,
Yeah, as
I'm going to protect them from it
long as you can.
as long as I possibly can. And I know we're getting to the point where, it's going to be a few years and it's going to be harder and more difficult. But I think as parents, like we have an obligation, even as grandparents or onlookers, to take the phones away, to take that external stimulation that's trying to rob our kids of their future through comparison, through just always feeling left alone and dark. So it's kind of a wake up call. Haley's death was a wake up call. It hit close to home on so many different levels. I have to tell you guys something. I'm gonna share this, and I hope you're okay with that, Brandy. But about 12 years ago, I had the great honor of having my nephews escort me. I got the Junior Achievements Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, and it was an incredible night, one of my favorite nights still to this day in my life. And my handsome nephews, all decked out in their tuxes, escorted me and spoke at this thing. And at the end of the night, my nephew Max, who is about 8 or 9 at the time, says to me, "Aunt Amy, what are you going to do with those flowers?" And I said, "Why?" He goes, "I'm just wondering if I can have them." And I'm like looking at him like, "Huh?" And he was so handsome with his curls and his tux. And I said, "Well, sure." And I go, "What are you going to do with them?" He goes, "Aunt Amy, how about if I stay overnight with you and we can go take these flowers to Haley Grovo's house and give them to her." And I'm like, "Okay." So literally I was like, he's 8 or 9 years old. I'm like, I cannot believe this.
Yeah.
Is 9, okay. So we go driving over there. I called you, Brandy. I'm like, well, we drive over there and knock on the door, and there's nobody there. So I call Brandy, and Brandy's like, "Oh, shoot, we're out at my parents' house." I go, "Max, we're not gonna be able to get the flowers to her tonight." And he goes, "Oh, man, Aunt Amy, what are we gonna do?" I said, "Well, we can try again in the morning." He goes, "Well, we'd have to go early, and I gotta make sure my, tuxedo looks really good. So can you, like, iron it and get it all ready for me again, and so I can put it back on?" So I put these flowers in the refrigerator, and we don't tell my family anything that's going on. It's just, like, my nephew Max and I's secret. Like, I'm not telling anybody this is what we've got planned for the morning, and I'll never forget it. We, got up really early, maybe, like, I think we were out the door by 7, and it was early, and we drove out to their his, Haley's grandparents' acreage, and Max put those flowers behind his back, and he knocked on that door, and Haley came to the door, and he handed those flowers to her, and I'm telling you, lights out. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen,
It was.
and they walked out there, and your mom was out there, and
Took a
here
picture in front of the bear.
took a picture in front of the bear, and then here's the thing. Fast forward a couple years later, I have my nephew Max in my car again. It's Valentine's Day. Guess what he says to me? "Aunt Amy, can we go get Haley something? I want to just give her something for Valentine's Day." And I have pictures of him hopping out of my car. It's pouring rain, knocking on your door on Winston Place, giving her a Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So Haley's death hit home like, hey, this talented, amazing human being that was loved by many and had the brightest future ahead of her didn't have hope, saw no other way out. And so I would say to you today, just ask every day that you'll be sensitive, that you'll see people where they're at, that if there's someone in need, that you'll be that beacon of light and that beacon of hope for them today. I pray that every day that I have a heightened sense of awareness to see the people around me. And so just the practical things of just putting your phone away at dinner, not allowing "I'm fine, I'm good" to be an answer that you accept, digging deeper, taking our eye off ourselves. That's how we can light our world, right? Brandy, do you have any parting words for anybody?
Ah, be a good human.
Be a good human.
Yeah, that's what Elena said.
Yeah.
Just don't don't think it can't happen.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Just having a heightened awareness. And here's the thing, again, having a heightened awareness requires that we take our eyes off ourselves
Yeah.
and off our distracted lives.
Yeah, yeah, if you just notice something off, say something.
Yeah.
People you read people are afraid, ask them if they're okay. Ask them if they're thinking about if you ask them, it's not gonna put the thought in their head.
Right.
It it's gonna open the conversation.
Uh-huh.
Uh, don't be afraid to ask.
Uh-huh.
I sure wish I did.
Uh-huh.
Um, that would yeah, just talk about it.
Do you know, just in closing, I was with someone last week and she said, "Amy, I have 8 generations of suicide that," and she said, "I've been challenged by it. I've had to really, like, stand against those thoughts, and she said, "And my sons had to stand against those thoughts." And she goes, "And I'm bound to determine my grandkids are not gonna battle with that stuff." But we're having a lot of we have open dialogue about those kinds of things. And I think that that's so critical. It's because you can feel so alone and so alienated, but if you can have a conversation and tell someone, "I'm struggling with this," and you expose it to the light, it takes its power from you. Like, it takes the power of that darkness away, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had that with just situations I've dealt with. If I can just talk to someone about it, it's like it loses its power.
It's you're talking about it.
Yeah,
It's not your mind isn't telling you or making things that aren't true.
yeah,
Just talk.
yeah. Well, Brandy, I love you and your family. I appreciate who you guys are on this earth. I appreciate all that you're doing to raise awareness. And just know that the impact of Haley's loss and the ripple effect of that has probably saved so many lives and continues to. I think everybody that knows you guys and knew her has been put on mission to not let that happen to anybody else. Right?
I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. I truly believe it. So, um, guys, again, if you want to go support, um, you can register. The race is happening June 14th, alive and running. I think it's in Dunkerton, right?
Yes.
At 7:30 in the morning, I think it kicks off.
Saturday, yep.
Yep, it's a great event. And here's the thing, it's an overwhelming emotional event because you'll hear conversations from people that, you know,
Yeah. Friday night, there's they always have a speakers, and then a remembrance ceremony that to people that have lost their lives to suicide. And then, yeah, the 5K run walk Saturday morning.
just remember, be the lighthouse. Every 11 minutes, someone takes their life. Let that sink down deep. Let that be something that opens your eyes and gives you perspective that I'm a person that is going to be aware and not just completely self-absorbed. That I can see when I see other people struggling, I will give heed to it and not just walk away. Right? Yeah. So I appreciate you so much. Anything else? Guys, if you would like to give, or if you'd like to have Brandy and Dana, I'm just going to volunteer them. If you'd like to have Brandy and Dana come speak to any group that you have, high school, they've done a lot with that kind of stuff. High school, college, youth groups, church groups, they are totally available, and ready, willing, and able to speak to any group. So if you think of anybody that needs them, um, or if someone's just suffered a suicide and they're struggling. I mean, here's the truth of the matter. Who are you on this earth to heal? It's your past. It's who you've been. It's where you've been. You can only touch another person in a spot where you've bled. Really? So, anyway, I appreciate you. I love you. And guys, thanks for listening today. I hope you like this podcast. I hope you'll share it. You'll send it out to friends and family across the country. People need to hear the message, that they have value, and that every storm runs out of rain, and eventually these hard days or a difficult season will pass, and that they have such great value on this earth. Be blessed.